Another thing I'm going to highlight to the Vermont judiciary is that Pam Bondi's testimony openly and notoriously admitted to ongoing criminal investigations. What Blondie failed to mention was that they were investigating us as victims. And it's not legitimate due process respecting investigations. It's retaliatory, which is exactly why the only people they can find to screw with this are domestic violence perpetrators, people who deal their drugs, as exposed by the Iran-Contra scandal, clients probably of Chad's or Dershowitz or some other corrupt defense attorney who has people that owe them money, and maybe they have serious charges, and they say, oh, you want me to get you off your charges? I got some, and you can't pay me my 50 grand or whatever. I got some work for you. And then they send them to fuck with me or fuck with any of the other victims. And apparently Brad Edwards, and apparently they threatened Brad Edwards, one of the attorneys for many of Epstein's victims, and Gloria Allred, and of course Hochul's independent investigation, and the state police, and Cousy, and I don't know if the Vermont Attorney General's on the up and up or not. I'm not going to say that she isn't. But Sarah George all know, and Becca Bowen all are aware that Pam Blondie's ongoing criminal investigations are into us. They're trying to smear all of us and hire these idiots to fuck with us and set them up to help support what's ultimately going to be their false criminal allegations, like the shit we're hearing out of Dirschbag. Like the shit that Chad Cronin hurled. This is one reason why my father and his family really ought to get up here and have a conversation with me. Because if they've got people willing to just make shit up out of nowhere, I promise you they may very well have people in Georgia doing the same thing. Doctors, nurses, police, who knows? I don't know if that so-called whistleblower on Allison Sosaby was one of them, and they tried to make that person look like they were a progressive independent. Chad Cronin claims he's a progressive independent democratic socialist. So yeah, Blondie's doing criminal investigations into the Epstein-Maxwell case, retaliatory, malicious, Brady-violating investigations into all of us as victims of the whole cabal, not just Epstein and Maxwell. Anybody Dirschbag violated, anybody Cronin had, I'm not the only one who made allegations against Cronin. Shit, a damn Sanford, Georgia judge accused Chad of threatening him. When Chad went in there high as hell, he lectured me all night, got high and lectured me all night, which I absorbed it. He was teaching me and training me and counseling me as his client. And he was using the Trayvon Martin trial that was actually going on in Sanford as part of the training. And he had to go there to represent a juvenile who caught a trespassing charge because she fell asleep in somebody's yard. And it was a pro bono case, and Chad went in there and threatened the judge. The prosecutor basically made a motion, the judge granted it, it violated some precedent. And instead of Chad speaking up at the time, because he's such a fucking coward, and said, Your Honor, my response to this, here's the precedent. So the judge could have made an appropriate decision based on what the prosecutor said, then Chad could have said, no, that's not right. Here's the precedent to prove the prosecutor's wrong so the judge could make an appropriate decision. He let the judge make an inappropriate decision because Chad didn't speak up. So Chad sends him an email right there, because there's computers at both desks in all the Florida courtrooms, or most of them, at least there was during the Beasley shit, where two of Chad's former co-workers were in charge of that shit show, where they let a bunch of predators walk because they would have gotten charged for giving them access to the predators in the first place. Anyway, Chad sent a threatening email saying, you made a bad decision and granted this motion, and here's the precedent to show that it was bad, and I'm going to write you up to the Vermont judiciary. Which is exactly why I'm not going to, in my complaints to the Vermont judiciary, I'm going to say this is just a inquiry that needs to be made. And no, I don't have to go into a courtroom in a courthouse where I have to go through security and let them go through my things. I do not have to be at the mercy of anybody on the Epstein list. And any judge who went along with that is definitely implicated as being on the Epstein list. I do not have to put myself at the mercy of anybody I suspect is on the Epstein list. So any cop telling me you have to go to that courtroom, no, the fuck I don't, bitch. You clearly have never been. That's the slave master, slave patrol bullshit. And that was actually Essex PD that said that. Burlington PD says you don't have to go, but if you don't go, the judge is just going to give it to her, which is exactly what I wanted. I wanted her to go to that hearing and reinforce her lies and let the judge implicate themselves further. I had a strategy. So was Essex PD just going by, were they mistaken? Were they trying to steer me there because they knew the judge was guilty and they really needed me to get the judge on record being guilty? There's a million ways to do that. I don't have to go in and put myself at their mercy. I can do more damage with an email. What is an email? It's a recording. All of these people, when I sent an email to every single doctor at the University of Vermont ER, that is a recording of me reporting how all of their doctors that I've seen falsified their records to cover for Epstein's partners in crime and ongoing criminal investigations that they can't deny because I got Buffalo City Hall raided and Economic Services sent me to the police. When Paul Dragon's subordinates went online, pretended to be me, and got Vermont Medicaid in my name and committed crimes against the state of Vermont. And all those doctors committing crimes against the state of New York because they never reported, made accurate medical records for Governor Hochul or her Bill Hochul's team that raided Buffalo City Hall, who was investigating the New York Medicaid fraud. Instead, they covered it up, so they committed crimes against the state of New York. That's public benefits frauds in my name. I don't have a choice but to report it. So I'm going to let the judge know, no, I don't have to put myself at the mercy of anybody trying to kill me. And the fact that I'm terminally ill. Anyway, my point was, when I sent them all an email, they're mandated by law to report the EMTALA violations, everybody involved in falsifying records, because once you can prove that one medical record was deliberately falsified, every single record at that clinic is suspect and has to be audited. They are mandated to seal my file. Risk management is supposed to seal my records and get law enforcement down there. How many of those doctors did that? 0. So you've got them all dead to motherfucking rights. They have to err on the fucking side of caution. What did they do? I got some email from somebody that said they were compliance and referred me to medical records. No, bitch, you're supposed to call the state police because this involves state officials at the University of Vermont that probably only the state police can arrest. So they're really the ones that got to be the ones investigating. And we're talking about sex crimes. They were supposed to do the same shit they did when they found those hidden cameras in the bathrooms at UVM that got that one doctor arrested. It's the same thing. It's making recordings. Medical records are recordings that violated Title IX and Title VII. Rape and violence, a racist, either gender violence or racial violence, whatever. So I don't have to go in and put myself physically in front of them to nail their ass. Chad taught me. Now we're talking a former special prosecutor here who worked for DOJ under Obama, Biden, and Kamala's brother-in-law, Tony West, said whenever you send an email or a text or a written letter, of course in today's technology, it's better to do it via email or text. It creates a recording of what you said to them and how they respond. And when you're talking about all these horrible crimes that they are mandated by motherfucking law to report and get law enforcement involved in, and they don't respond, or they send me over to one of their cronies so they get to investigate themselves, that's all you need. So I don't need to go into that courtroom when I got other shit I need to do. I damn sure don't have to put myself at the mercy of those corrupt-ass rapist security guards who'll